You know, there are some church groups that give condoms out to prostitutes, and there are other church groups that give out clean needles and Narcan to drug addicts. There are some church groups that give out water and food at gay pride events. And for the longest time, I always felt like these church groups were actually conformist. I felt like they were assisting people in their sin, and it drove me nuts. But as I step back, and especially now that I'm a father, I think, if my daughter grows up and she finds herself in a place to where she becomes a prostitute, I hope that there's somebody there giving out condoms, so that way she could potentially avoid STDs or an unwanted pregnancy that could potentially lead to an abortion. I hope that if my child grows up and chooses to be a drug addict, then somebody's there handing out clean needles and Narcan, so if there's an overdose, there's a chance that someone close by or they themselves can save their own lives. And I hope that that clean needle can prevent some type of STD. I hope that if my child grows up and chooses to live the gay lifestyle, that there's somebody there from the church that, no matter how minute it is, handing out bottles of water or free food, I hope that there's someone there that can make an impression that says, hey, when you choose not to live this way anymore, we're here to love you, and we're here to work with you and help you get through this. The church, in a way, gets frustrated, just like I used to, because they are of the opinion, in order for you to escape this sinful lifestyle, you have to understand the destruction or live through the destruction that it's going to cause. But that's not the truth. Why would we not want to help individuals who are lost or who have fallen into temptation and are living a particular life? Why would we not want to help them avoid the devastating consequences that come from the decisions that they're making? Why would we not want to love them anyway and be there for them, so that way, in the event, God willing, that they step out and they say, hey, we're not going to live this way anymore, that there's not as much of a mess to clean up. Jesus is all about the ministry of reconciliation, but even then, I don't believe that Jesus Christ just sits back and allows us as individuals to just experience full-blown hell in our lives. Scripture says it rains on the just and the unjust. There's good and bad things that happen to people all over the place, regardless if they're believers or not. But why would we as the church, who know how bad the consequences of sin truly are, why would we not want to step in and love people where they're at and be there for them whenever they decide, this is not for me. This is not what Scripture tells me that I'm to be. This is not becoming of a follower of Christ. Why would we not want to be there to help them? I know people in the foster care system that help foster kids, and my wife and I have looked at, doing fostering before, and we love the idea of it. And the hardest part about it is that the goal of foster care is to unite the child back to the family. And you get so grown and you get so attached to loving this child or these children, all to know that eventually they may go back home. But all we can do as a foster parent, and all we can do as believers, is truly love someone and give them everything we got and try to help them not deal with the consequences of their sins to the best of our abilities, and then leave the rest up to the Lord. Scripture says that some water, some plant, but God calls the increase. And that's all we can do. We can water and we can plant seeds, but we got to trust the Lord to cause the increase. Y'all take care.